Volcanic is an archetype of FIRE Pyro monsters used by Axel Brodie in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime. They are related to the Blaze Accelerator archetype of spell and trap cards. Volcanic Eruption is not a volcanic card because it does not have the correct kanji in its Japanese name. Most of the volcanic monsters are reptilian, combined with military hardware and are intended to be used with the card Blaze Accelerator, which destroys opposing monsters by using pyro monsters as ammunition by sending them from your hand to the graveyard. The main theme of the cards is to destroy monsters with Blaze Accelerator while dealing effect damage with cards like Volcanic Scattershot, Volcanic Slicer and Volcanic Hammerer. Both effects are applied to the trump cards of the archetype, Tri-Blaze Accelerator and Volcanic Doomfire. A big weakness of this deck can be cards that stop destruction. Since the whole base of this deck is destroying your opponent's field, cards like Prime Material Dragon, Destruction Jammer and Stardust Dragon can stop this deck in its tracks. Because of that, side decking cards like Discord can be helpful. When you want Blaze Accelerator or Tri-Blaze Accelerator, you can set Volcanic Blaster. If your opponent attacks Blaster and sends it to graveyard, you can add Volcanic Rocket from your deck to the top of your deck. When you draw it, summon it, and add Blaze Accelerator or Tri-Blaze Accelerator to your hand. Snipe Hunter can be used as an alternate Blaze Accelerator. Simply discard what you would normally use for Blaze Accelerator for its effect. At the cost of not being a guaranteed destroy, upsides to using Snipe Hunter include the facts that Gladiator Beast Heraklinos cannot negate its summon, while it can negate the initial activation of Blaze Accelerator. Stardust Dragon and Prime Material Dragon cannot negate the destroying effect. You can destroy spell and trap cards as well, and you can still declare attacks after using it. When you successfully summon Volcanic Doomfire, you can activate final attack orders to make all your opponent's monsters switch to attack position, and then they will be forced to attack Doomfire via its effect. You can add to the burn damage by summoning Lava Golem to your opponent's side of the field. This is also a good way to take out cards that could be harmful to the deck's strategy, such as Stardust, Prime Material and Orcus, Lightsworn Druid. If you can have Doomfire on the field, you can activate Ojima Trio and Battle Mania in that order on your opponent's turn. The Ojima tokens will be forced to attack Doomfire due to its effect, and because they are tokens, and are not sent to the graveyard when destroyed by battle, the effect of Doomfire will not activate, thus resulting in 9000 battle damage and 900 effect damage. Ancient Fairy Dragon can special summon volcanic monsters from your hand and use their effects to deal effect damage and without entering the battle phase. It is easy to add Uria, Lord of Searing Flames, to this type of deck. You possibly have most of the needed continuous trap cards such as Gravity Bind, Backfire, and Coffin Cellar. You can use Gravity Bind to stall and burn using the deck's main strategy until you get the necessary 3 traps, then send Gravity Bind to the graveyard when summoning Uria, and you are free to attack with at least 3000 ATK. Also, if you are on the ropes, and don't have the necessary trap cards, Uria is a 0 ATK pyro monster, so it qualifies for use with Blaze Accelerator. Volcanic Blaster. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by battle, you can place one volcanic monster in your deck on top of your deck. Using Supply Squad will allow you usually to directly add the searched volcanic monster to your hand. If you have a face-up Tri-Blaze Accelerator, select Volcanic Doomfire with Volcanic Blaster's effect to quickly summon a powerful monster. Volcanic Counter. When you take battle damage while this card is in your graveyard, banish it from your graveyard. Then if there is a fire monster other than Volcanic Counter in your graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the amount of battle damage you took. This card is a suitable monster to discard for Blaze Accelerator and Tri-Blaze Accelerator. This card can be sent to the graveyard via Foolish Burial, Brush Fire Knight, Fire King Avatar Kirin or Blaze Accelerator Reload. This banished card can be returned to the graveyard with Burial from a different dimension, Cyphramelord Omega, and Miracle Dig. Volcanic Doomfire. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned by sending a face-up Tri-Blaze Accelerator you control to the graveyard. During your opponent's battle phase, your opponent must attack this monster with any attack position monsters they control. When this card destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls and inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed by this effect. Use this card with final attack orders so that all of your opponent's monsters are in attack position so that they have to attack Volcanic Doomfire if they enter the battle phase. Using Battle Mania to force your opponent to attack this card will also work very well. This card is an excellent choice for White Veil. Whether it attacks or is attacked, and the opponent's monster is destroyed, their entire field will be nuked, allowing any other monsters you control to attack with no risk of danger. Use this card with final attack orders and Light of Intervention, so that all of your opponent's monsters will be in face-up attack position all the time. Use the above strategy but also activate Ojimatrio for a one-turn kill, about 9,600 damage in total. You can quickly summon this card in one turn, providing you have both the necessary spell cards and this card in your hand. Simply activate Blaze Accelerator, then right after that, send the activated Blaze Accelerator to the graveyard to activate Tri-Blaze Accelerator, then send the activated Tri-Blaze Accelerator to special summon Volcanic Doomfire. You can even do this in your first turn. Blaze Accelerator Reload is a better alternative to the above method as it requires fewer cards to bring Doomfire out, although it cannot be done in your first turn. Normal Summon DD. Guide in attack position, giving control of it to your opponent in the process. Then activate Mesmeric Control so that Guide stays in attack position. Use Call of the Haunted to special summon Volcanic Doomfire during your opponent's battle phase, if it was already special summoned to the field appropriately, so that all your opponent's attack position monsters will have to attack. You can also activate Foolish Revival and Ojimatrio for more damage. If your opponent has Marshmallow or Spirit Reaper in attack position, easily done by battle position changing card effects, you can use an Unfortunate Report to inflict enormous amounts of damage. Attacking isn't necessary with this card under all circumstances. If you suspect that your opponent has one or more traps set up to counter attacking monsters, you can simply allow the lesser volcanic monsters to inflict effect damage to your opponent each turn. This card's effect will generally prevent them from being attacked. Using Canyon and DNA Surgery to change this card into a rock-type monster. Then, use Battle Mania to force your opponent's monsters to attack this card and activate D2 Shield to increase this card's def, reducing the chance of this card's destruction and further increasing the damage Canyon will inflict. Use an Unfortunate Report to create the possibility of a one-turn kill. Use Zombie World to change this card to Zombie type, then use IL Blood and Book of Life to make a good search and revival engine for this card. This card can stop your opponent's Earthbound Immortal from attacking you directly. Use this card with Coffin Cellar and Dark Room of Nightmare to inflict a total of 1,400 damage for each monster destroyed by this card's effect. Use Soul of Fire to banish this card and inflict 1,500 damage to your opponent's life points. Equipping Big Bang Shot to this card will enable it to deal piercing damage to your opponent's life points, while granting it an extra 400 ATK. Volcanic Hammerer, once per turn, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of volcanic monsters in your graveyard x 200. If you activate this effect, this card cannot attack during this turn. This card is best used in conjunction with Blaze Accelerator and Tri-Blaze Accelerator. Use Volcanic Scattershot effect in conjunction with Tri-Blaze Accelerator, then use Volcanic Hammerer effect, dealing 500 plus 1000 plus 600 equals 2100 damage. This card works well with Gravity Bind, Messenger of Peace, etc. Use Dark Room of Nightmare to do 300 additional points of damage. Use Painful Choice to quickly dump up to 4 volcanic monsters into the graveyard. Volcanic Queen, this card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned from your hand to your opponent's side of the field by tributing one monster your opponent controls. If you special summon this card, you cannot normal summon or set this turn. Once per turn, you can send one other card you control to the graveyard to inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. During your end phase, either tribute one other monster or take 1000 damage. This is a sure way to get rid of monsters that are resistant to destruction or card effects like Mecha Phantom Beast Dracossack and Stardust Dragon / Assault Mode. Even if your opponent negates the summon of Volcanic Queen, the opponent's monster would still be tributed. Special summon this card in defense position to get rid of a problem monster and easily take it out before your opponent has a chance to use its effect or attack. This card works well with Gravity Bind, Messenger of Peace, Creature Swap, etc. Use Mask of Restrict so your opponent can't tribute this card. Also, your opponent will be forced to take 1000 damage during each of his/her end phases since he would be unable to tribute a monster. Using this card and one set Penguin Soldier, you can constantly return both monsters to your hand, to remove your opponent's strongest and most dangerous monsters from the field. This card works well with Remove Brainwashing and Owner's Seal. Volcanic Rat, this mutated mouse dwells in the core of active volcanoes. No amount of heat is too much for it to bear. Use this card for Blaze Accelerator and Tri-Blaze Accelerator. This card works well with Amulet of Ambition because it is the strongest level 1 normal monster. Equip it with Opti Camouflage Armor to attack directly. Volcanic Rocket, when this card is summoned, you can add one Blaze Accelerator card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Volcanic Rocket is critical for a standard Volcanic build, as it can be used to search Blaze Accelerator, Tri-Blaze Accelerator, or Blaze Accelerator Reload depending on what your situation demands. Special summon this card by the effect of Summoner Monk, then activate this card's effect to add your Accelerator card. Afterwards, you can XYZ summon Digusto Emerald to not only return your 3 scattershots from the graveyard to your deck, but also draw XYZ summon Lavalval Chain and place Scattershot on top of your deck. This would mean that you already have a Blaze Accelerator Reload, so be sure to activate it during your opponent's turn, if you can, to get the Scattershots more quickly. Return this card and your 3 scattershots from your graveyard to your deck by the effect of Royal Firestorm Guards, and draw 2 cards. Volcanic Scattershot, if this card is sent to the graveyard, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If this card is sent to the graveyard by the effect of a Blaze Accelerator card, you can send 2 Volcanic Scattershots from your hand and / or deck to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Use Dark Room of Nightmare to do 300 additional points of damage. This card's second effect to send copies of itself to the graveyard and destroy all opposing monsters counts as its own effect, not the effect of Blaze Accelerator, which means it can be used to take down even spellproof monsters such as Silent Magician LV8. It's also a very handy anti-swarming tactic. Recycle this card with Volcanic Recharge or Royal Firestorm Guards. Use Cold Enchanter to discard this card to inflict damage and gain an ATK boost. Send 2 copies of this card using Fine for a non-attack finisher of 1000 points. Volcanic Shell, once per turn, you can pay 500 life points, add 1 Volcanic Shell from your deck to your hand. This card must be in the graveyard to activate and to resolve this effect. This card can be recycled with Royal Firestorm Guards. This card is useful as filler for players that quickly want to thin out their decks and / or have cards with a discard cost. Discarding Volcanic Shell for a card cost and then using its effect costs no card advantage, a mere 500 life points, and next turn its effect can be used again for a +1 advantage, in the process thinning the deck of 2 cards. This card works well with Snipe Hunter and the Transmigration Prophecy. Discard Volcanic Shell for the effect of Snipe Hunter and use its search effect to search out another Volcanic Shell and use Sniper Hunter's effect again. When the third Volcanic Shell is searched out and discarded, use the Transmigration Prophecy to return the first 2 to the deck and keep the loop going. Use this card to pay the cost for Card Trader, which effectively allows an extra draw every turn for 500 life points. Volcanic Slicer, once per turn, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If you activate this effect, this card cannot attack during this turn. This card works well with Gravity Bind, Messenger of Peace, etc. Use Dark Room of Nightmare to do 300 additional points of damage. Use this card with Solar Flare Dragon to inflict 1000 damage every turn. Blaze Accelerator, you can target one monster your opponent controls, send one Pyro-type monster with 500 or less ATK from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, destroy that target. You cannot declare an attack during the turn you activate this effect. Good targets for this card are Volcanic Scattershot, Volcanic Shell and Volcanic Counter. Because Blaze Accelerator is often destroyed to activate the effects of some cards, use Hidden Spellbook as a way of recycling them and using them again. Use this card with other cards that prevent you or limit your attacks, since you cannot battle anyway when you use this card's effect. Examples include Volcanic Slicer, Volcanic Hammerer, but also Soul Exchange, Misfortune, which fits with the Burning theme, or Summoner Monk. Try Blaze Accelerator, activate only by sending one face-up Blaze Accelerator on your side of the field to the graveyard. You can send one Pyro-type monster from your hand to the graveyard to destroy one monster your opponent controls and inflict 500 damage to your opponent, but you cannot declare an attack during this turn if you do. Use Hidden Spellbook, the Transmigration Prophecy or Recycle to bring back this card and Blaze Accelerator to rearm and slash or summon Volcanic Doomfire. Spell Reclamation and Magical Stone Excavation can accomplish this faster, albeit at a cost. Use Dark Room of Nightmare to do 300 additional points of damage. This card can be searched by Volcanic Rocket. Use a Magic Reflector or Card Guard to protect this card from being destroyed by the opponent, so you can continue to blast their monsters and later summon Volcanic Doomfire. Use Ojima Trio to put 3 monsters on your opponent's side of the field to destroy, as well as dealing an extra 900 damage. Wildfire, pay 500 life points. Destroy a face-up Blaze Accelerator card you control and destroy all monsters on the field. Then, special summon one Wildfire token, Pyro-type /fire level 3 ATK 1000 def 1000, in attack position. Also, you cannot declare an attack this turn. This card is best used during your opponent's turn, during a turn in which they summon one or more powerful monsters. The token generated by the destruction of the Blaze Accelerator is then best used to tribute summon a Volcanic Hammerer. Use a Magic Reflector on your Blaze Accelerator before you use this card, so it won't be destroyed by this card. Blaze Accelerator Reload, this card's name becomes Tri-Blaze Accelerator while in the spell and trap zone. During either player's main phase, you can send one Volcanic card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, draw one card. You can only use this effect of Blaze Accelerator Reload once per turn. During either player's main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, send one Volcanic card from your deck to the graveyard. If the opponent's LP are low, this card can be banished from the graveyard during the opponent's main phase 1 to send Volcanic Counter from the deck to the graveyard, thus discouraging the opponent from attacking. This card allows Volcanic Doomfire to be summoned more easily, as neither Blaze Accelerator or the real Tri-Blaze Accelerator need to be included in decks utilizing the monster. This card is the best Blaze Accelerator card to trigger the second effect of Volcanic Scattershot, since it destroys all of the opponent's monsters anyway. Set this card and Mirror Force for a foolproof trap. If your opponent attacks, their monsters are destroyed. If they used multiple spell and trap destroying effects, this card can be chained to send Scattershot to the graveyard. This is the first Blaze Accelerator card that allows yourself to discard Volcanic cards on your opponent's turn. With this new trick, Volcanic Scattershot can be used to nuke your opponent's field in their main phase 1 to protect your monsters, or dump volcanic counters before their battle phase to deter attacks. It also sends volcanic cards at a much faster rate, twice per round, than either of the other two accelerators. With this, your deck can be rifled through in search of key cards, while loading the grave with counters and other volcanic cards for the effect of Volcanic Hammerer. This is the first Blaze Accelerator card that can discard non-monsters. With this new support, volcanic recharges can be ran, to recycle your volcanic shells, over more versatile cards like the Transmigration Prophecy. Even if it is drawn without any volcanic cards in grave, it can just be pitched to draw another card. Volcanic Recharge, return up to 3 volcanic monster cards from your graveyard to your deck. Use this card to return Volcanic Shell and Volcanic Scattershot to your deck to use Blaze Accelerator or try Blaze Accelerator's effects.